Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you are. There you go. There you have it. Everything. We're back. We're live. It's brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on a Friday morning. Happy Friday. We've made it through the week. 256-576-4977. That's how you can join the program for the next 2 hours on a Friday morning. A lot of good stuff to get through today. Don't forget, coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, you will be able to get $50 worth of food for $25 to Lil Capone's, Huntsville's newest Italian restaurant located on University Drive there. Lil Capone's, $50 for $25. That'll go live at 8 o'clock this morning. 256-576-4977. Yesterday over inside Spraggins Hall in the varsity room, great day to be a UAH Charger as it was official. UAH officially introduced their men's and women's basketball coaches. Alan Sharp for the women's side, Mick Hedgepeth on the men's side. Interesting, nice comments, motivating comments from both coaches after Alan Sharp's introductory speech. Boy, I felt like suiting up for the women's squad. He got you fired up. And then Mick Hedgepeth doing the same thing on the men's side.
Yeah, it was a really good press conference over there, getting the chance to get some FaceTime with those two coaches who are now on campus at UAH and going to take over both programs. It's unusual because you usually don't have coaching changes in both major basketball programs in the same offseason, but certainly Dr. Cade Smith has been busy, and as he pointed out, he and Dr. Carr, especially Dr. Smith, he was surprised at the interest level as far as on both jobs. He had a lot of names and resumes to sift through and whittle it down in the two searches. And certainly he had a lot of quality, applicants for both jobs and a lot of interest. And the women's job is one that's, always been, I would say, a sleeping giant in the Gulf South Conference. They've had short periods of success, but never a long-term vision and never long-term winning. But I think they're really trying to solve that now with this hire. And Alan Sharp is someone that's proven on the junior college level in 2 stints at Wallace State. He's proven on the GSC level, which is extremely important. What he did twice at I believe Arkansas Monticello and at West Alabama. So he understands the league really, really well, and he did it on the men's side. But if anybody saw his work at Wallace State this year with those ladies, he did a really good job. They were one made three away from winning the state championship in junior college and going to Hutchinson in Kansas to the national tournament. He got the men there. He coached them both this year, and that's kind of how his career pivoted, because him taking over that women's program, and I believe they won 24 games, and with what he was able to accomplish, I think it opened his eyes to coaching women's basketball, and then it also opened, Dr. Smith's eyes and the committee, and they really were impressed with him and what he's done, and he has strong ties to North Alabama. And I think that's going to be the key, recruiting and getting in good players, because there's a lot of good ladies basketball players in North Alabama, especially young ladies that can play on the Division II level. And I think that'll be the key to kind of unlocking things. And there's a lot of talent from North Alabama that's scattered throughout the Gulf South Conference. And I think,
there's plenty.
Yeah, I think Alan Sharp can turn it around quickly, especially with the transfer portal. We all know. See, people, we talk about the portal all the time, but we focus on the Power Five. But it's rampant on the Division II level, and I think that he can do a nice job. And I think Mick Hedgepeth, with his experience and who he's played for, he played for Rick Byrd, he coached for Casey Alexander at Belmont. He's also run his own program at a couple of places at Swanee, and then of course, at Barry. So he has experience, and he's still young, very young, and he has ties to North Alabama from Crossville and been coming to Lenny Acuff's camp. So the thing is, there's a large network of coaches that understand the UAH men's program and what it is now, which is very tradition-rich, and it's a very attractive job.
It's a challenging job as
it
well
is, because there's
of the
expectations,
academic restrictions, and the expectations at the same time. So.
Lenny Acuff for 22 years was unbelievable and the winningest coach in the history of the league, and then John Schulman. That's big shoes to fill, like Kalen DeBoer has for Nick Saban.
Yeah.
In some ways, on a smaller level. And John Schulman more than did that with 5 good years, and he's been able to go back to chasing his dream on the Division I level, and that has opened up this opportunity for Mick Hedgepeth and his family, and going to be some very interesting days coming up for UAH.
All right, there you go. That's where we were at yesterday afternoon. How about this? Somebody told me that they were going to go watch playoff baseball yesterday, and I was like, Are we really at that point in the year,
man,
that we are starting high school playoffs in baseball? And they were like, yeah. And sure enough, we are. So
1 through 6A.
Yeah, several schools last night on the Diamond getting their playoff series is underway. Several of them wrapped up first-round playoff series last night. The Athens Golden Eagles, they get a 2-0 series win over Pinson Valley last night. 11-1, 9-1, so they move on. Does Athens in Class 6A. In Class 4A, Deschler wins their series over Priceville 2-0 last night. Corner knocks off Madison County to win their series 2-0 last night. Brooks wins their series 2-0 over Hansville yesterday in Class 4A. Class 3A, Lauderdale County gets a 2-0 series win over Glencoe. Plainview wins their series 2-0 over Walter Wellborn. Piedmont wins their series 2-0 over Sylvania. Westbrook Christian gets by Elkmont 2-0 in their series. Whitesburg Christian Academy, they are moving on. They get a 2-0 series win over Fayetteville yesterday, 3-2 and 5-1. Just kind of going over some of these. Athens Bible, they get a 2-0 series win over Jacksonville Christian. Summerton Christian gets a 2-0 series win over Shoals Christian. Addison, a 2-0 series win over Covenant Christian. So there you go. High school baseball state playoffs underway.
Yeah, Madison Academy coming into the playoffs on an 8-game win streak. They did not play yesterday. There were some that was rained out. As we know, there was some rain that hit our community yesterday evening. It was kind of weird. Around 4 o'clock.
I had the sunroof open in the car because I was getting ready.
But I didn't have a sunroof.
To go back out, and all of a sudden I look out and I'm like, uh-oh.
I didn't have a sunroof off, but I had just gotten back in the car, after making a quick, side trip to the bank, and I saw it was getting dark, so I was like, well, better be ready here, and and it hit. So Madison Academy deciding to postpone their series with Fairview. It will be today starting at 1, so they will let the students out early. That will be a series played over at Madison Academy, 5A series. And then the Huntsville Crimson Panthers. Now, 7A doesn't start till next week, but some of these races are still to be decided in 7A, and Huntsville will play a doubleheader over at Grissom. The first time that was released was 5. I think it's been pushed back to 6. Over at Grissom High School tonight. And
that's big for Huntsville. Grissom wrapped up the area.
Yep.
Now they're battling to see about
the runner-up.
Yep.
Yeah,
to get into the playoffs.
To get the playoffs, and so that series will conclude over at Grissom tonight And then and I know Bob Jones was playing against last night against James Clemens, trying to decide that area as well. Bob Jones able to play because of the turf infield and the drainage system over there at Bob Jones.
Jimmy Lay letting us know that Westminster plays Cordova today.
Yeah, that one's also.
Westminster's won 3 straight area titles.
Right.
So, high school basketball, high school baseball, state playoffs underway. I was just like, man. And that means state soccer is getting close to coming back here for the state tournament as well. So we're getting close to having everything back here. Oh. On a Friday, 256-576-4977. Again, if you want to join us on a Friday.
And it looks like Bob Jones did get the win last night. 6-4 over James Clemens. Now
they did. Yeah,
they are not playing today to conclude it. It will be concluded at James Clemens, games 2, and then they will play a game 3 at James Clemens at 1 and 3:30. Only one win needed for Bob Jones now to clinch the area. And they are number 1, by the way, in the last 7A poll. They always release the last poll before all the playoffs start, the final one, until you wrap everything up in Montgomery. But going into the playoffs, and we had Coach Jared Smith on recently because of their run, and they beat their #1 team in the country early in the season. But number 1 in 7A right now, Bob Jones, having another very, very strong year.
North Sand Mountain got a 10-0 win over Holly Pond yesterday. That one just went 6 innings. They took game 1 of that series last night with that shutout win. So a lot of high school baseball. Hopefully the weather holds up today.
It's raining right now, but hopefully it'll get out of here. I mean, we'll see.
I am not a meteorologist.
No.
But I will say that it does look like they should be able to get some baseball in today.
Yeah.
It's expected to rain around maybe 10 o'clock this morning, but after that, does not look like, at least, doesn't look like they're going to get anything. So don't take our word for it when we say it's not going to rain.
Well, we weren't sure yesterday, and then it all fell apart. So, because I'll say, when I got there for the press conference at UAH, I mean, it was beautiful weather. I think it was a little breezy, 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky.
Yes.
And you get out of there, and you start seeing some ominous clouds, and then it blows in.
Look at you with the big word.
Yeah. And, I mean, oh, Lord. So, and then Alabama baseball was, postponed last night as well. So, and we'll have all full coverage on the network. No Czar today. No drive.
Nope.
They were planning on even having a drive, but there's going to be a doubleheader in Tuscaloosa today, starting at 11 a.m. for game 1, and I guess game 2 will be 30 minutes after on the network today. And Alabama and Texas A&M going to try to play 2 over in Tuscaloosa today.
Well, that is a big series.
It is. It's as Steve Moulton pointed out last night over at Baumhauer's, they just beat the #1 team in the country last weekend 2-1, and now they're playing the new #1 team in the country because that's just the SEC, as Texas A&M is #1 under Jim Schlossnagle.
Well, you look, we talk about how we are shocked that high school baseball is at the playoff level right now, because it just seems like we just started the baseball season. The SEC baseball season is getting into that point where
second half of it,
you've got to start notching those wins.
Right.
You've got to start putting yourself in position.
There's 15 games left in the conference season.
Right. You got to start thinking about, okay, we got to turn it on if we want to get to Hoover, because is it still everybody but the bottom 2, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, because Oklahoma
they haven't
and Texas
changed that yet.
They don't join the league till next year.
So
it'll be once again the top 12. So 2 teams will not make it.
So right now, it would be, how about this? It would be LSU and Auburn not making it to Hoover right now.
Darn with LSU, just darn. You know what I'm
because
saying?
both of them have hit massive bumps in the road.
Yeah. now,
this year.
Do I expect that to continue with LSU? Probably not. They'll probably figure it out.
But they are trailing Missouri and Ole Miss by at least 2 games in the column.
Mizzou was playing horrendous, but they're now 5-10, which is halfway decent.
So is Ole Miss.
And Missouri is the only team to beat Kentucky. Jeff has not been calling in to brag about this. I guess he doesn't want to jinx it, but Kentucky is the best team in the SEC right now. They are 14-1. Their only loss in conference, Scott, was a 2-1 loss to Missouri. Otherwise, they're perfect.
Now they are 31-5 overall.
They are just unbelievable.
Now they are 12-2 on the road.
They've already beaten the living hell out of Alabama and Auburn, and I mean, not just beat them, just beat the stew out of them. I mean, they're really good.
So Arkansas
I said stew. I didn't say the other thing.
Thank you. Arkansas is 12-3 to lead the West. Baseball still has East and West divisions, so it's kind of odd. It's the only
A&M,
sport.
I believe, is second. I think they're 11-4.
They're 11-4. Mississippi State is 7-8. Alabama 6-9.
See, everybody else in the West under 500 in the league.
Yeah, there's only 2 teams above 500 in the West. Everybody else is below. In the East, you got Kentucky, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina above 500. Georgia, Florida, and Missouri are below 500 in there. So, I mean, there's some usual suspects below 500.
And Florida's usually really good.
That's what I was going to say,
Jack Caglione. I mean, he hit one 516 feet the other day. I think it's his 7th or 8th straight game with a home run.
They're 2 games below 500.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just a meat grinder in the SEC, man. There's no off weekends.
Vanderbilt is 9-7 in the league this year.
9-7. So
9-7.
They must have won last night, or they must have they played last night.
And they've won 2 in a row
because they've got turf, so they ought to be able to play if it dodges rain. Because that's the one sport they care about.
Let's see here. What did happen? Can I go back?
Well, if they're 9-7, that's 16 games. So there was some action last night. So I'm assuming that there was probably some action that got played.
The 18th. There we go. Yeah, Vanderbilt takes care of Florida last night.
Another L for the Gators, 10-6.
That's the only game played.
Yeah.
The only one played.
Yeah.
Alabama and Texas A&M will be at 11 o'clock. Then you have Texas A&M and Alabama after that. You got Ole Miss on the road at Georgia with a 5 o'clock first pitch. This is a good one. Kentucky and Tennessee this weekend.
Yeah, that's what they were. Mark Etheridge was talking about that, a top 5 matchup between those two. For Kentucky, the best team in the SEC, and then the roll bat to the Vols.
Auburn and Mississippi State, that one in Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn really needs that series badly, man.
Oh, they need a sweep.
Yeah, they need because
if they get a sweep,
right
they're
now.
right back
but
in
see,
it.
But they can get right. Yeah, it doesn't take. But
or
one
if you can
good
get 2 out of 3, you're kind
one
of
or
somewhat
2 good
back
weeks in a row.
Yep.
You can get right back in this thing where you got a chance to get to Hoover.
Arkansas and South Carolina will play each other this weekend in Columbia.
Yeah,
and then Missouri and LSU in Columbia. So it's a big weekend for LSU as well.
Wonder if Mizzou can take care of that. Let's go Tigers. The others.
Roback.
Oh, Lord. Well, look, I mean, I respect Jay Johnson, but they've been poaching players from all over the SEC, just going out and buying them. And
that's what you're supposed to do these days.
I guess, but it's just,
That's what you're supposed to do.
I am slightly surprised. I mean, I know how much talent they lost. I mean, they were stacked last year. I mean, with Paul Skeens and all those guys, and they absolutely they had the they had the top 2 picks in the draft. It's just one of those things where I thought they would just reload, but I wouldn't be surprised if they got it turned around though. But in college baseball, even at LSU, if you get a few guys hurt, a couple guys have off years, as tough as the conference is, you can pay for it. So I mean, but there's still time. I've seen squads, dramatically turn it around. You just mentioned it about getting to Hoover. That's the main thing. If you get there, you got a really good shot. It's still getting into a regional. And, if LSU say they could win, you said they're 3-12 coming into this weekend.
Yep.
If you can win 3 of your next 5 series and get a sweep or, in there somewhere, you're right back, in the mix.
You're 3-12. Yeah. Ole Miss is 5-10, and Florida or Missouri is 5-10. So if you go and take care of business against Missouri this weekend, you've all of a sudden, if you're LSU, you've put yourself if you back in the mix to get to Hoover.
If you go 10-5 over your last and win 3 series over the next 5 weeks or whatever, and you get to 13-17, that'll be 13 wins in the 30 games. I think you got a pretty good shot at getting to Hoover, and then you roll the dice and see what kind of run you can make. And usually, especially if you're LSU, you should still be probably a solid 2 seed if you can get to 13 wins in the league.
Auburn's problem is road games this year. 1-6 in road games for the Auburn Tigers and Butch Thompson.
They've had a brutal schedule. They've probably had the toughest.
Well, they've played everybody. They've played Kentucky.
Yeah.
They have played Tennessee.
Arkansas.
They have played Arkansas. They have played Texas A&M.
Good Lord, that's half the top 10 nearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just brutal.
All right, we got to get a break in. Speaking of buying players.
Oh, yeah.
Florida couldn't buy Jaden Rashada.
Good Lord, what a joke this is.
We got to get a break in.
Just a clown show.
When we come back, we'll fill you in
Pathetic.
next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That wreck at University in Mid-City appears to be our only working accident. You be careful on your ride in this morning. Traffic level heavy all across the valley already. You could win a Jeep Compass, a new one, at the 40th Annual Bloomin' Festival Art and Craft Fair this weekend, adjacent to Ave Maria Grotto in Coleman. Over 180 artists and craftsmen, great food, music, and more. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Check
out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, you know, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And before we get into what we teased before the break, we'll just go out to the phone lines first.
Yep.
Richard is with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, Richard.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning.
4 or 5 weeks ago, Kenny Payne was head coach of Louisville.
He was.
Don Calipari was head coach of Kentucky. Now they're both at Arkansas. I mean, can anything get wilder than this?
No,
yeah, I saw that this morning on Twitter. Someone put that out there, and I was like, wow. It's just crazy to believe.
Well, and Kenny had his options. I mean, I think Dallas, maybe one other NBA organization, was thinking about hiring him, as an assistant. And then, of course, Kentucky came back after him to be on Pope's staff. Pope's trying to fill out his coaching staff over there.
He reunites with Calipari, right?
But everybody expected this. Yeah. Basically, Calipari in Arkansas told Payne, like, we will match or exceed any offer you get, because Calipari has got to have Kenny Payne to get him the players so he can lose in the first round.
I mean, you would think Wagner would go there now with both of those guys.
Yeah, I would think together. So. Maybe Boogie Fland. I mean, Boogie was committed to Kentucky and is now, quote unquote, reopened his recruitment and is considering everybody. But I don't know how much of that I actually believe. But we'll see.
Well, I mean, I guess wallet open maybe is what he means.
Well, of course, it's all about the Benjamins with all of them. I mean, it's how much can you pay me to play for you for a year?
Scott, you got to watch what you say. You said you were motivated by the women's coach at UAH. Dawn Staley might give you a scholarship.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You better watch what you say.
Listening to Alan Sharp though yesterday, I mean it did get you. If you are, I mean that women's program is on the cusp. It's got every potential to be really good in the league. It just needs that right igniter.
Fit.
Yeah, and I think Alan Sharp fits it perfectly, and I think he has a good vision, and I think big things are ahead for that program.
Yeah, I know you're going to talk about Jason Rashada, but to go over his kind of timeline, if you have that, whenever you get to that point. I saw that last night about all the places.
Yeah,
I guess he played high school and then committed to. It's like 8 or 9, 10, different places that he either went high school or committed to. It's pretty amazing how his list of I guess choices over the years, or semi-choices. A lot of them he never got there, but kind of amazing on the guy going up, down. Drew, anything on Holloway at all on his visit to Alabama yesterday? Or
I think everything went well from what I understand. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened today. We'll see. You never know in these situations, but he did make the visit. Now, Cliff Omayuri, I'm doing the best I can from Rutgers. We had Jared Harper on yesterday talking about him. That situation is kind of murky because I had heard he was going to come in on Saturday and Sunday. Now it looks like he's going to Georgetown to talk with Ed Cooley. He's already been to St. John's. And he's saying the Alabama visit is now tentatively for next weekend.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people don't want him to visit Alabama that are trying to sign him because they don't think he'll leave if he makes the visit. So we'll see. I'm sure Alabama's going to keep chopping wood with that. We'll see what happens with Mark Sears. I was told yesterday Jeff Goodman had reported that if Sears wasn't a first-round pick, he thought there was a good chance he would go back. So that would be huge for Alabama. I mean, certainly he's going to take a substantial NIL offer, just like it did with Jonai Broome with Auburn, for them to do that. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
They must have something laid out in a plan because he didn't go to the portal.
Oh,
if he comes back, they must have something in
Oh, yeah. You talking about with Sears? Yeah.
With Sears, yeah.
I never expected him to go into the portal. That would have been stunning. I mean, he's a perfect fit for Alabama. And I don't blame him, for exploring his options because, I mean, hey, you're going to do that, from a professional standpoint. We saw Reed Shepherd, ended up, going into the draft like we expected. I mean, there was
and
he's
going to forego his eligibility too. He's in the draft. Yeah. He is not coming out.
And then to show you how crazy a lot of this stuff gets, like you were just talking about Jaden Rashada. I was reading up on the guys that are making decisions basketball-wise, and A.J. Storr, the leading scorer for Wisconsin, I knew he was probably going to end up at Kansas. Kansas has been probably the most aggressive team in the country with NIL. And then Jeff Goodman was saying they need a shooter like Bray from Dayton. I'm thinking, well, they're probably going to get, Rylan Griffin. But A.J. Storr has played, Scott, counting high school.
Yeah.
7 schools in 7 years once he enrolls at Kansas. So he played at 4 different high schools and now 3 different colleges. I mean, it's just an absolute circus. I mean, 7 schools in 7 years. I mean, that's just insane.
Well, Kansas spent more than $4 million last year to put their basketball roster on the floor.
Right.
Did the Jayhawks. Over $4 million.
I was told they spent $6 million the other day.
Jeez. All right.
It didn't work. See you guys later.
Thanks,
See you, Richard.
Yeah, it didn't work. It's going to happen, though.
It didn't have enough depth, though. That's the problem. I mean, you paid your roster and you get paid Hunter Dickinson big money, but
that is the problem with the NIL. I mean, it's not like you have unlimited money to spend. You have this, so where you
we were joking about Elon and Stanford last night about $10 million, but yeah, I mean,
it's not like.
But see, the thing about it is like we talk about what they spent last year. They're probably spending more this year. These are 1-year contracts, so to speak, that you're signing these kids to.
Well, look at your Final Four teams this year,
right?
Real fast. UConn had a good mix of recruitment and NIL guys to win this whole thing. Some experience. Alabama the same way. Alabama had some guys that they recruited that Nate Oates recruited, but they also had some transfers in there. And you have to have that fine balance.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a team. Did we have a team? Oh, NC State. My bad.
They were 6 of their top 8 were transfers.
Yes, they were all transfers. So I guess that blows my theory that you have to have a good balance. I forgot about NC State
most of the time.
Most of the time. All right.
And see, well, that helped Keith keep his job because he was about to get fired.
Yes, he was.
I mean, if he lost to Kenny Payne, they were tied with 4 minutes to go. That he would have got the zig before Kenny.
All right,
he's got an extension.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we will talk about the Jaden Rashada story because it's just too good to pass up. Too good to pass up.
Yeah.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast, but there is going to be a significant period of dry time. We are going to be a little bit cooler today. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid-70s. We're dropping into the low and mid-50s as we head into the overnight early into your Saturday morning. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through much of Saturday afternoon. We are going to be on the cooler end of the spectrum. We're dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s as we head into the overnight. A cloudy sky for your Sunday. Plenty of rain across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dorton Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
That wreck at University in Mid-City appears to be our only working accident. You be careful on your ride in this morning. Traffic level heavy all across the valley already. You could win a Jeep Compass, a new one, at the 40th Annual Bloomin' Festival Art and Craft Fair this weekend, adjacent to Ave Maria Grotto in Coleman. Over 180 artists and craftsmen, great food, music, and more. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
If you knew a local restaurant was featured on America's Best Restaurants on YouTube's Bring the Heat, would you not want to try it? Of course you would. So come on down to Lo Capone's and enjoy authentic Italian food and live entertainment daily. Everything is made fresh at Lo Capone's. Mama's secret lasagna recipe, the pizza dough, the sauces, all made fresh daily. And Lo Capone's bar is fully stocked to round out your dining experience. In Florence and now in Huntsville on University Drive. Come on down to Lo Capone's.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms can include pain, heaviness, aching, fatigue, or swelling at the end of the day. If this has been the case, then Varicosity Vein Center can come to your aid. Evaluation and treatment of the veins is performed as an outpatient, utilizes the latest minimally invasive techniques, and is covered by most insurances. After treatment, patients may resume most normal activities without delay. Varicosity Vein Center now has 3 North Alabama locations, one in Huntsville on South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road. Our new locations include Madison at Madison Hospital Complex and Coleman at the Coleman Regional Sports Medical Center. You can call 256-715-7151 to set up your appointment with one of our experienced and compassionate team members, or you can visit online at varicosityweincenter.com. Varicosity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're talking about 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. 24/7 Sports has gone out and said, all right, as each team wraps up spring practice, this is the need for every team. They list the need for the Georgia Bulldogs as a quarterback. Not a starting quarterback, but a quarterback.
Yeah.
That is the need for the Georgia Bulldogs. As you wake up this morning, all of the college football world is abuzz because they say there is a quarterback that Kirby Smart has identified and possibly would want on the roster, and that is former one-time Miami commitment, former one-time Florida commitment, former one-time Arizona State Sun Devil quarterback Jaden Rashada.
Yeah.
Who is in the transfer portal again.
So, not surprised. He committed to the Canes to the Life Wallet. Then he had some huge offer on the table from Florida that somehow fell apart. Then he ended up playing for Kenny Dillingham with his dad's alma mater at Arizona State. He got hurt. I guess that didn't work out. Now he's back in the portal. So, oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. And that's what a lot of this stuff is with the transfer portal. And so, but Kirby's had experience with this. He took JT transfer portal. I mean, that's what we could nickname him for the rest of his career, you know?
The Jaden Rashada one, though, keep in mind.
Right.
He agreed to go to Florida because of reportedly a $13.85 million contract through their collective.
I nearly spit my water everywhere when I heard about that. When I was like, a what?
$13.85 million collective payment, and he only went into the portal because Florida failed to make the payment, or the collective failed to make the payment.
Failed collectives because Florida had to get rid of that collective. I mean, whoever that buffoon was, he's got more money than he's got sense. $13.8 million for a damn quarterback who's not even the number one in the country. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to be the best. I mean, these rankings are subjective, but
they are.
I think based on early returns, which is why I said we practice to deceive, he hasn't been that great. Has he been worth $13.8 million?
No, because Arizona State went out and got 2 guys out of the transfer portal in the offseason.
I mean, Caleb Chilane wasn't worth $13.8 million unless you ask his dad. But, I mean, good Lord.
There's not – look, I'm sorry, but there is not a college quarterback.
Not Bryce Young.
That would be worth 13.8. They're not worth 13.8. They're
$13.8 million.
Bryce Young, as good as he was not worth $13 million at a college level.
Hell no. I mean, come on. Jeez. You could buy a whole offense. Sure, the Gators sure as hell have needed an offensive line if you're going to spend $13.8 million.
So you're sitting in your college football office, and you have to decide how much you're going to spend for a college quarterback.
Right. Well,
how much do you think? How much would you put on value for a top college quarterback in the NIL market?
Well, we're gonna talk to Jason Caldwell in the second hour, and he just brought it. It clicked in my head something he said on our show when we were wondering what Auburn's plan would be in the offseason.
Right.
After the rough first year under Hugh Freeze, would they upgrade at quarterback? And we thought Caden Salter, he went into the portal for a little bit, went back to Liberty, and, Hugh Freeze had brought him into Liberty after the Tennessee fiasco, and we thought, well, it makes sense. I mean, for you coached him, he may end up at Auburn. Well, he ended up coming back to Liberty. And Jason Caldwell told us Hugh and his staff were having to decide how to attack the offseason and where to upgrade their roster. And their plan, they had decided to spend a lot of their NIL and their collective money on the recruiting class, which they did. They had a great recruiting class. And to upgrade in the portal, but not at quarterback, around the quarterback. Offensive line, wide receiver, weapons. They felt like Peyton Thorne could still, develop into a good quarterback because as Jason said, a quarterback would cost upwards of $1 million to $1.2 million. Think about that. He said $1 million. He didn't say 13 for a guy that's not even starting at Arizona State anymore.
No.
I mean, Lord, if you're getting paid that kind of money, you better be the Heisman winner, or at least one of the 2 to 3 best in the country.
You better be something.
I mean, good heavens.
All right, so how about this? Our good friend Ross Dellinger.
Right.
10 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. This just flows right into our conversation that we're having right now.
We appreciate that by Ross.
Yeah, literally putting this out there for us.
Yeah.
Memphis getting into the NIL deal. FedEx is going to invest $5 million this year in Memphis athletes as the first of a 5-year commitment. Players earn NIL by supporting initiatives from FedEx, headquartered in Memphis.
Yep.
FedEx worked with a sports partner in making this happen.
Now, is this both sports or all sports, or is this
$5 million in Memphis athletes?
So it encompasses the entire athletic department.
Entires the entire athletic department, but FedEx doling out $5 million for Memphis athletes in NIL compensation.
Well, I hate to say this, but they're still just going to get to the NIT with Penny as coach. I mean, loved him as a player, but
they got to the NCAA tournament this year.
No, they didn't.
Did they not?
They turned down the NIT.
Oh, that's right, they did.
Now I think they got there last year. They've been a couple of times, but they didn't last till the water got hot. I think they ended up losing the first round 2 years ago, but they didn't make it this year. They fell a little short. They looked like they were going to make it, but down the stretch they just really struggled. So, I mean, Penny's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you asked about it. The money has been specifically earmarked.
Okay.
For football,
men's
and women's basketball, and other women's athletic programs.
Okay.
That is where the $5 million will go.
I love our listeners. We just had somebody text in and say Jaden Rashada led all rivals 250 prospects in interceptions. Coming out of high school. So, I don't know why it was highly rated. Hell, I never understood it. I mean, I remember telling you when we read the rumors about all that.
Stuff in Florida.
But no, well, see, here's the thing. You know, it's what Greg Burns says about gray area. You don't really know if all of it's true, all the stuff you hear about all these contracts. But somebody leaked it out about the $13 million. And I'm sitting here thinking, $13 million? The guy's like a top 6 to 8 quarterback. But I've seen so many of these quarterbacks bust. You better make sure that guy's legit if you're giving him $13 million. And if you're leaking it out, his teammates are all going to know about it. So they're going to be like, hey, homeboy, you throw an interception in practice, that ain't flying, man.
No.
They're getting paid $13 million. You're supposed to make plays, man. You're going to have.
Well, just think about it. If that check goes through, if it's if the collective was real, we now know that it was not. Yeah. If that's real, boy, you want to talk about Billy Napier being on the clock?
He might already been in trouble, man. He'd been in worse trouble. I mean,
you bring somebody in for $13 million,
and he's already in the transfer portal after a year or 2 years, excuse me. Oh.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't have had Graham Mertz. It would have been even worse.
Woo!
Oh, me.
All right, let's get a break in. 256-576-4977. Join the conversation in a little bit.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Working to clear a couple of accidents this morning. 231 in Crow Road, that's near Union Chapel coming out of Arab. And we had University in Mid-City reported as an injury type. Both of those should be about ready to move, maybe gone already. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name now so you have it in the future. Dr. Randall Burns is at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
T-minus 3, 2, 1, blast off.
The nation, ignite the fun, let's rock it.
The 2024 season for your Rocket City Trash Pandas rolls on as they return home Tuesday, April 23rd for a 6-game homestand like you've never seen before at Toyota Field. Not only are the Pandas taking on their cross-state rivals, the Tennessee Smokies, but this homestand marks the return of the big old ballpark fair. Get your tickets to see the Pandas and the fair now by visiting TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
Everyone's favorite place to celebrate Cinco de Mayo this year is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. For Cinco de Mayo, Coralejos Mexican Grill will feature $3 regular margaritas and all nachos will be half off. And there will be even more surprises. Celebrate Cinco de Mayo this year at Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying, Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
We will be at University Kia tomorrow, because today's Friday, so tomorrow's Saturday. We'll be at University Kia tomorrow. What time did we say, 12?
Yes.
Yeah, 12 to 1:55. We will be there doing a little bit of a show.
Tentatively, first pitch for baseball, weather
hopefully,
permitting,
yeah. If the
Game
weather.
3, yeah.
Yeah. All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. Coming up here in a little bit, Kenneth Darby will join the show, as we got to talk to him because he was inducted into the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame on Monday as well.
Right.
And we will talk to Kenneth Darby. And I wanted to, I was like, man, on Monday they did a highlight video of everybody that was getting inducted.
Right.
And they brought up Kenneth Darby having some records.
He does. He's in the top 5
I
ever.
went back and I looked. He is in the record book 3 times still in the Alabama lore. Mm-hmm. His 3,324 yards is 5th all time still in Alabama history as far as rushing goes.
Right.
His 702 carries is 2nd all time in the Alabama record book.
Yep.
And he rushing attempts 36 in a game. 36 carries in one game still ranks him 7th all time in the Alabama record books. That is tied with Bobby Humphrey, Sean Alexander, and Derrick Henry at 36 carries. So Kenneth Darby still has his name splattered all over the record books.
Good receiver. He averaged nearly 5 yards per carry in his career, 4.7. And let's just say he didn't have Nick Saban's offensive lines to run behind.
No, he did not.
And we have already talked with him ad nauseum about that. But still, he had a remarkable career. He spent 3 years in the NFL. He got drafted in the 7th round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He spent some time with the St. Louis Rams. I believe his position coach, I believe, was Sylvester Croom. I think Coach Croom helped him stay in the league. And so, again, he was definitely, when you talk about the all-time Butler Rebels, he's up there. He and Ramsey, with what they did under Ron Danley, I mean, he was a machine. He had 2,000-yard seasons at Alabama, nearly a third his senior year. And don't forget, his senior season, he lost his father. I mean, there was a lot of things going on off the field. He spent part of that year injured, still was second-team All-SEC, and still was selected in the NFL draft by John Gruden. And any time you can spend some time in the league, and he certainly did that, that is an accomplishment because – I mean, and it was cool in a way to see him and Ramsey drafted in the same round because their careers, as far as their accomplishments on the field, paralleled each other so much.
So in 2005, the Alabama football team as a whole, the offense as a whole, had 6 games where they had a 100-yard rusher. Kenneth Darby had all 6 of those games.
Oh, yeah. He had nearly 1,300 yards that
Yeah.
year.
He had 145 at South Carolina and 147 versus Utah State.
Mm-hmm.
Those were his 2 biggest games in 2005.
Right.
In 2006, wow, this just tells you about the Alabama offense in 2006. They only had 2 games where they had a 100-yard rusher in 2006.
Dodging a lot of people in the backfield.
Kenneth Darby had both of those.
He
His
had some
best
quickness.
game came against Ole Miss in 2006, an overtime game where he had 162 yards. The other one was 115 versus Duke.
Well,
Those were the only 2 games that Alabama had a 100-yard rusher in 2006.
And I believe that overtime game against Ole Miss, it's kind of funny how it always ties back into each other during these shows. You've already said roll back. Well, it was y'all, Brent Schaefer.
Yo.
I believe with Coach
Give me a
O.
roll back.
Yeah. Coach O coaching the Rebels.
Oh, wow. Come on down, get you a Hummer.
That's what I was about to say. Don't forget the commercial.
Come get you a Hummer.
JoJo.
I like the Hummer.
Oh, Lord. And then don't forget that great song out of Memphis, Colonel Reb is Crying. That's another great one if you look that up on the YouTube.
Colonel Reb is Crying?
Yeah.
I ain't gotten that one.
There's some great imitations of Roback in that one.
But in 2004, Kenneth Darby had 1, 2, 3 100-yard games in 2004. That was when he was sharing time with Ray Hudson.
Yeah.
In the backfield there. So, that's coming up here in just a minute. Top of the hour, we're going to get Kenneth Darby on the show, inducted into the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame on Monday. And again, his name still all over the rushing record books here in Alabama. So it's kind of interesting there. I was just going through. I mean, man, I tell you what, you look at the numbers for Alabama and you look at it. Man, in 2013 and 2012, 2011, Alabama had 10, 10, and 11 games where they had a guy rush for over 100 yards.
No, I mean, come on, man. You put Kenneth Darby behind some of those offensive lines, he goes a hell of a lot higher than the 7th round. And he might have rushed for 4,000 yards. He might be the all-time leading rusher at Alabama because he really had a tremendous run of staying healthy and then just durability until his senior year where he got nicked up because he redshirted as a freshman and then he played some in 2003, in spot duty. But then, like you said, you talked about the late Ray Hudson, who we lost much too soon in the last year. But Ray got hurt, and Ray was leading the SEC in rushing himself. Like in 2004, they were running the ball really well. KD picked it up. I think the breakout game I can remember, I think that year was Mississippi State and Tuscaloosa, and he had a 100-yard game and went nuts. And then for the rest of that season, he was just nails and did a great job running the football. And then, as you said, his best year in an Alabama uniform in 2005 when that team won 10 games, and he was a teammate of D'Amico Ryans. And that team, of course, went on to win the Cotton Bowl over the Pirate and Texas Tech.
Well, you look at it, Kent Darby, 3,324 career rushing yards on 702 attempts.
It just shows you the durability, man.
Well, it shows you that he didn't have a lot of blocking either. He took 702 carries.
But if you can take that kind of load, I mean, that's an amazing career.
Najee Harris has the record, 3,843 yards on 638 attempts.
Yeah. So.
All right, the Hall of Famer, Kenneth Darby. Going to join us.
Now you can put Hall of Fame in front of his name. That's neat.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Remember him when he was way back when. Just a wee
I do
bit.
too. I remember watching him play point guard for Jack Doss, man. I've never seen somebody outrun a basketball. And Kenneth Darby could outrun a basketball, man.
All right.
He could dribble so fast that he would almost outrun the ball.
That's impressive.
Yep.
Kenneth Darby
great athlete.
Joins us on the flip side.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
The NHL playoffs get underway tomorrow. The last wild card spot was determined last night when the LA Kings beat the Chicago Blackhawks and Anaheim beat Vegas 4-1. LA leaped ahead of Vegas to third in the Pacific Division. The defending champion Golden Knights get the wild card. The Avalanche and Oilers, the new favorites to win the Stanley Cup at plus 1,000. The first round of the NBA playoffs gets underway tomorrow. Boston's the betting favorite to win the title this year at plus 190. Last year's champ Denver, second at plus 320. The Thunder and Clippers plus 1,700. Milwaukee and Phoenix plus 2,000 to win the title. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Well, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And as we closed out hour one, we were going over all of the records that won.
The numerous ones.
And new Hall of Famer Kenneth Darby has still in the Alabama record books. And we went over them. He still has top 5 in career rushing yards at 3,324. He still has records for carry, 702 in a season, second all time. I'm sure he's still probably feeling that all over the body. And then his rushing attempts in a game, 36 carries in one game, still has him 7th all time in the Alabama record books.
No, he's still one of the most decorated running backs in Crimson Tide history. Went on to have an NFL career with Tampa Bay and St. Louis before he came back to our community. And that's been the cool thing, to see him come back and be so successful in the business world. And we'll talk about that as well. He and Ramsey Robinson, two sterling examples of young men that took full advantage of their opportunities as student athletes in high school, then in college, and then, of course, were able to play at the highest level professionally. But it's always great to catch up with our next guest, one of the best running backs in Crimson Tide history. KD, Kenneth Darby, is now going to spend a few minutes with us on this Friday morning. Kenneth, man, it's great to talk with you again. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you, man?
I'm good, my man. How are you guys doing over there?
Well, we miss you, man. We used to be able to just go get you downstairs, bring you up here in person. We can't do that anymore since we've moved.
I know, man.
So
now we get to add, though, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, Kenneth
to
Darby.
your credentials.
Oh, man, that sounds good when you say it.
Yeah, I mean, we asked. We had your teammate and your close friend Ramsey Robinson on earlier in the week, and he was still so humbled by this honor. What was it like for you to get the call, man? And it's so great that you guys got to go in together.
Yeah, man, that was a truly blessing, man. I was more so proud of all the accomplishments that we have accomplished over these years as teammates and friends. You know, I was ecstatic, man. To be honest with you, I really wasn't quite expecting it. It kind of caught me by surprise. So that was always a good feeling, man, just to know that they recognize not only me but also Ramsey, man, for the dedication that we put into not only of the sport but also our lives personally.
When you were sitting there on the stage and you watched the video that was produced for you and you watched the video that was produced for Ramsey and you hear the name Butler High School and you hear everything, there was people sitting in there that everyone pretty much remembers Butler, but there's people that are going to scratch their heads and be like, Butler High School, yeah, because it doesn't exist anymore. How important is it and how special is it to hear that and just try to keep that name and the history alive of what Butler meant to you and everybody else?
Man, to be honest, I kind of felt the way about it because not in a bad way or not in a good way either. I was more so saddened or disheartened by it because for the simple fact the school not there no more. There were so many memories and legacy left at that school for it not to be there no more. And to your point, a lot of people especially don't know there was a school there or know of the name Butler. So that's where the whole disheartening part comes from. But at the most part, I am happy and excited to know that me and Ramsey and other guys that came before us and after us was able to pretty much leave a stamp, not just on for Butler, but for in the community, period. For all the people that from here know of Butler and know of the tradition and the stellar athletes and student athletes that came from that school, at least they know. But even though the people that don't know about it, other people can tell them about it. It's not just one of those schools that was there and gone. It was actually people who built the legacy and built that school up to have a great legacy that it had when it was there, and the legacy it still has now that it's gone.
Well, the thing that I remember the most, too, is you and Ramsey kind of helped, under Ron Danley, helped reignite the Butler football program. It had a lot of great history and tradition, but you guys helped it rise back up and become very competitive. You guys went to Tuscaloosa, won playoff games. Your careers kind of, you had, as this program improved, both of you guys were such huge central parts of that. You were able to, bring a lot of positivity around the school from a football perspective. Then you and Ramsey were able to use that in order to get, attention from colleges throughout the SEC. And I know it wasn't really the plan, but it was really cool kind of how you guys ended up being lockstep in your careers together after middle school. Now, Ramsey, he filled us in on the fact y'all were big rivals in middle school, but then you guys came together in high school, and then were able to, ride it out through college together for 5 years, which is unusual. Both of you redshirt and then still go on to become basically 4-year starters.
Yeah, man, that's a blessing all in itself. But one thing I'll say that me and him always did have an understanding of is that when we did play in high school together, one of the things that we did want to do was put Huntsville and surrounding areas on the map, meaning that we wanted people to know that it was athletes here. Because around that time, you really weren't hearing much about athletes coming from this area. It was more so the Birmingham area and on down south in the southern parts of Alabama. Really, you didn't hear much about the northern part of Alabama at all, or athletes that were coming out and doing so. So me, Rams, and a whole bunch of our other teammates, we tried our best to really pretty much just show out where people didn't have no ability but to just look and see what was going on up here on this side of town. So that was one of my most accomplishments that we set out to do, is just put more so northern Alabama on the map so people can actually know, hey, it's still athletes, still players here on this side of town too. Y'all need to come check us out.
And you all had to be athletes, because y'all were I think you were a 5A school at the time.
Yeah.
And there was
6A,
like
actually.
6A, my bad. You were 6A, but you only had like 40 guys on your roster.
Yeah, but it wasn't still a large roster, though.
Because you were so small.
Both ways, yeah.
Number-wise, that y'all had to play both ways out there.
Right. And that's the thing that people feel. And there's a lot of times when I used to talk to kids, man.
Yeah.
They usually be like, what position you play? Like, I played running back. I was outside linebacker. I was kickoff return. They're like, hold on, you doesn't play one position? I'm like, no, man. I like, there no such thing as playing one position. I like, you kids, they got a luxury of just playing one position. I like, when we was coming up, we didn't get off the field. It's like you have to bring your A game on every end of the field. So but yeah, man, you're right. If we didn't have a lot of people on our team, I think, and I always tell people this too, I know, it ain't no I think, I know for a fact that's the reason why we never brought a state championship home. I believe if we had the depth and had the depth where we could exchange people in and out of the game so they can be fresh around that time when playoffs come around, we would have won easily. For the simple fact, the team that we had on their heels every year was Hoover, and they always used to win a championship every year. And the only reason why they beat us, and I tell people that even some of the players that played there, we stay in touch every now and then. I tell them, hey, man, the only reason y'all did win is because around the time we played y'all, which was at the end of the season, we was pretty much beat up. We had a lot of injuries to our star players, including myself. So I it's the only reason why y'all won and barely won when y'all did play.
Well, and then talk about deciding to choose Alabama. You and Ramsey, kind of set the stage. And I know Nick Saban came right after you guys, but you had some bright moments during y'all's career. We talked about Scott and I before you came on. We were talking about the 10-win season and that victory over Florida. Nobody will ever forget. And that's another thing too. Y'all could have won a championship if y'all had some injury luck. Tyrone Prothro gets hurt. I mean, that team right there, and you lose in overtime to LSU and Jamarcus Russell, and lose the Auburn game. But if that team's completely healthy, you guys might have played for a national title.
Oh, most definitely. I agree 100%. And I tell people that to this day as well. If we would have had all our players, of course our key player playing, we would have took it home. We was on a roll. We was firing on all cylinders. It's just, man, we just took a big hit and we couldn't get up from it.
And we're talking to Kenneth Darby now, Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, former Butler Rebel, Alabama Crimson Tide star, played in the National Football League with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the St. Louis Rams. We had one of our listeners text in. He wanted to know, and you kind of touched on it in the conversation, about how do you kind of mentor youth now? I know you've are you still involved in the community and athletics? I know you got kids that are growing up. How do you kind of mentor, though, these youth that want to go on the path you did, but it's extremely difficult to do because we've always said in the NFL it stands for not for long, but you did reach that level and stay there. We've kind of talked about that in the past about how difficult it is to stay on that level, but how do you kind of mentor youth on how they handle themselves on a journey like you went on?
Man, to be honest, I pretty much tell them straight. I pretty much tell them my story. Literally, I tell them my story because a lot of kids think, for the most part, it comes easy, and they think for the most part, you may have a background of coming from means and doing stuff no. I normally tell kids exactly how it is, and how my story and what I did to overcome certain obstacles, to stay focused, to get over it. A lot of times, they resonate with a lot of kids. Because, like I say, most of them just think it's just something that's going to come naturally, it's going to come easy. But for the most part, the kids I speak to, the predominant kids I speak to, they are not really coming from much. They really coming from broken homes or bad financial situations, which I can all resonate with growing up as a kid. So I'm able to reach those type kids at a high level because they can see that it's possible to still accomplish a goal, to get to that level, from the simple fact that I pretty much came from the same situation that they came from. And I was still able to make it and make some of myself with the hand, just making it with the card that I was dealt in life. I didn't use it as no excuse. I used it more so as fuel and fire to keep going. And that's normally how I reach kids and mentor kids now, just pretty much telling them my story, telling them what I overcame and stuff that they need to expect as they go through down that journey to get to the next level. It may be in a career, may be in sports, but things to expect and be on the lookout for so you won't be blindsided.
We were going over a lot of the records that you still have at Alabama. And, I mean, there's still multiple. Your name is still there in the record book multiple times.
Yep.
Is there one of them? Is there something that still kind of stands out to you when you hear that and see your name there?
Yep. The leading rushing record. I still believe I should have broke it, but it's just man, so much went on my senior year, man. Football was not at the top of my mind at that time.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Yeah. It was tough, rough.
Yeah, so my senior year didn't start off the way I wanted it. Well, it started off the way I wanted it after my junior year, but after that, going into my senior year, it just like bad news after bad news just started happening. Football went on top of my radar at that point. So I know for a fact I could have broke that record easily, but it's neither here nor there. But I am honored and still happy that I'm in a record book of rushing yards. But if I could go back and do it over again, I definitely would.
We've also been joking that you'd love to have the offensive line from like 11, 12, and 13 to run behind.
Oh,
yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Woo.
That would have been sweet too. I think I probably had 2,000 yards.
No question about that, Kenneth. We were joking about that, but how emotional though was it for your family? You still have all your family's here. How was it when you got the call and you shared it with them? And we've been talking to people throughout the week who Jay Shearer was on with us, and he played on that Grissom State championship team, and he was talking about, he and Andy Blackston both, about how many people all of a sudden you start calling and they all want to be there. And Scott was telling me, and I saw it, I mean, there was 800 people in the ballroom. It was absolutely packed. Talk about how your family reacted to the honor that was bestowed upon you.
Man, they was ecstatic about it, especially my mother. She was very proud that I was able to make it and get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I always told them that I was going to be in the Hall of Fame one day when I was a kid. And lo and behold, I'm in the Hall of Fame. It may not be the actual National Football League Hall of Fame, but I am honored and recognized the Hall of Fame in my community and in my county, which is a big honor to me as well. So they was ecstatic about it. My mother was, my sister, my siblings. So they was happy for me. Like I said, I still couldn't believe it. They were like, why you not so excited? And then my sister asked me, like, why you not excited like that like I am? It's just, it ain't kicked in yet. It's like, I don't think it kicked in that it's actually happening yet. But, yeah, they was very ecstatic about it.
Well, and Kenneth, I know you spent some time, a couple years back coaching. I know you got the coaching bug for a while on the high school level. What are you doing now? We haven't had you on in a while. I mean, I know you're still very involved in the community, but what is Kenneth Darby in the business world and doing for a living these days?
Well, right now, man, I'm putting all my attention and full time in my real estate business. I've been doing for the last 8 or 9 years.
Right, you've been building it, yeah.
Yep, really, yeah. So I invest a lot in real estate, either buying homes or selling homes. So I've been putting more of my attention into that this year than what I've been doing. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Awesome. What does Kenneth Darby think of all the NIL stuff and the sports?
We already joked with Ramsey about the Bino shirts. He could have made a killing.
That's going on with college athletics right now.
Man, it didn't change it all around, have it? It didn't change the game completely, man. I'm for it, be honest with you, but everything can be done with boundaries.
Yeah. Right.
I agree, because I wish it would have been around when I played, so I was telling people, like, I'd definitely be living pretty good. But like I said, I think it can be set up with better boundaries than just plumb out giving kids so much money up front. I don't know if they're gonna tweak that or not. I don't know, but I'm for it. I'm for it all. I always say I wish we could get paid when I even played. So now they're actually doing it. I just hope they just don't overdo it where the kids now they just going where they get paid the most, which I'm not saying nothing against that, but at the same time, you're kind of taking away from the passion of the game.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not what team you can go to help that team get to that national championship, win a national championship. Now it's more so the mindset of what team I can go to that's going to pay me the most money, even though that team may not be stellar or whatever. You're not really looking to get your team to that next level, get that national championship. You're just looking to get paid. And that's why I said I hope they can get it set up where it's more so boundaries put around it, and they not take away from the passion of the game for kids.
Well, that's a perfect way to end it because you played with passion and enjoyed watching you compete, multi-sport athlete, of course, for the Butler Rebels, and especially on the football field, the anger that you ran with and the passion. And I think everybody knew you you knew you had to maximize every opportunity. You talked about it in the conversation that it was about taking advantage of opportunities that were given to you, and you and Ramsey did as good a job as any athletes we've had out of this community, and certainly reached the highest level. And you continue in the business world to both do so very well, and we're very proud of both of you. Both Hall of Famers now in the Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame, and it's very richly deserved. Continue the great work with the real estate company, man. We know we're going to see you around our community, but thank you for taking the time to reminisce with us and talk a little Butler and Alabama football. And again, man, congratulations and continued success, brother.
Well, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it, man. You guys, the best of luck and success with you guys as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, man. You guys have a great one.
All right,
That's
Kenneth Darby.
KD
Good
right
stuff
there, man.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
All right, let's get a break in. 256-576-4977.
Really good.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Working to clear a couple of accidents this morning. 231 in Crow Road. That's near Union Chapel coming out of Arab. And we had University in Mid-City reported as an injury type. Both of those should be about ready to move, maybe gone already. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name down now so you have it in the future. Dr. Randall Burns is at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
AL cert number 21014.
Are those high utility bills driving you crazy this time of year? If they are, Talent Heating and Air has the special for you.
That's right. We're going to run a $49 spring checkup on your system. We're going to come out, we're going to check those heat kits, make sure that everything was working through the winter right, and then we're going to also make sure your Freon's good, make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
How important is that to be done this time of year?
It's really the most important time of the year. We can avoid safety concerns caused by wintertime use, and then we can also make sure that you're ready for the summertime.
And to get ready for the summertime, you just got to call
256-503-4490.
Or you can find them online at
talenthvac.com.
That's Talent Heating and Air. One more time.
256-503-4490.
Talent Heating and Air. Let them save you money.
Folks, it's Truck Month and more at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey, Bobby White back again with the best selection and best deals on F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Bronco, Edge, Bronco Sport, and the all-electric Mustang Mach-E. Come on in for financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on a 2023 F-150 Crew Cab, and lease payments as low as $375 a month. Put an F-150 in your driveway for $375 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $62.82 due at signing, zero security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 4/30/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. At Woody Anderson Ford, you can choose from nearly 30 Expeditions with financing as low as 2.9% for 72 months. And talk about freedom, never stop at a gas station again in the all-electric 23 Mach-E with financing as low as 0% for 72 months. Come see us today. It's Truck Month and more at Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budget and energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on at advancedlifeclinic.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on a Friday morning. We've made it through the week.
But we're not done. We got a show tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to do one tomorrow at University Kia from 12 to 1:55 leading into Alabama baseball. So we'll be back at it on a Saturday. So we'll have a special Saturday edition of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. There was something I was going to say.
Right.
Oh, Deion Sanders. I know.
Here we go.
No, this is
he had
actually
some interesting things to say about Cormani McClain.
He did, but he also had something to say about the portal and everything else, though.
Yeah.
Because we've talked a lot about it. And Deion Sanders actually made a good point about the portal and what everybody is looking at this time around.
What are you looking forward to reestablish? What position groups are you hunting in the transfer portal?
I wish you guys do a little more homework when you start talking about the portal and understand what we're losing. What are we losing? I got time today. What are we losing?
Potential starters and
Potential.
depth.
Where?
Tight end, running back.
You haven't been watching practice, huh? Amen. We good. We're good. I trust the recruiting team. I trust our coaches. And please have some faith in me. We good. We all right. We all right. What happens with the portal, man, and you guys need to know, a lot of people are fighting for backups. When a guy's a starter and he transfers, you got to really think about that. I mean, is he really that? I don't know how many starters have really transferred around the country. I think we got some coming in from visits pretty soon, maybe even this weekend. But we can attract those type of players, but I don't think we're losing those type of players. And if we do, we're good. We're good.
Is he right? Is a lot of the guys that are going into the portal are other teams? Are they fighting for backups? I mean,
Georgia is. They're fighting for Jaden, overrated.
But is he right though? I mean, are we overreacting to seeing every guy go into the portal and thinking this guy's a superstar?
Well,
he's a starter
somewhat,
going into
I
the
think
portal?
so. I mean, when Kalen DeBoer took over at Alabama, people were in an utter panic because of all these guys hitting the portal for the Tide. And, you know, the only one that was really concerning to me was Caden Proctor. And guess what? Well, he came back. So, as the left tackle.
You've been losing Julian Saying?
Julian
Saying?
Yeah.
No,
he's like Jaden overrated. He ain't never played. What did you lose? You don't know what you're losing because somebody named him the top quarterback in America. They had JT overrated as a 5-star. He went to 5 colleges, 1 star per college. I mean, come on. That's basically that's what it ended up being. He was playing in front of 2 dogs and a cat at Rice. And not Rice instant rice. We're not talking about the food rice. We're talking about the university. I mean, come on.
So he's actually right. So Deion
Scott,
actually
we were
made
in
sense.
Hoover, and the dude had to be pulled off Media Row because of mental health or something.
Well, yeah, it was too much for him.
He was straining.
Yes,
he was straining to do all these interviews.
It wasn't mental. Yeah,
and talk about football.
He was stressed.
I mean, I remember looking at y'all, and I was like, Georgia's in big trouble if their quarterback can't handle. What in the hell is he going to do when he gets blitzed by Alabama or somebody or Tennessee or Florida, and he can't handle freaking Media Row?
So is that why when we sit there and we say, well, there's 2,122, for example, guys in the college football transfer portal, and 1,700 of them haven't gone anywhere, it's because a lot of those guys
don't have a home.
Did they get bad feedback? Did they,
probably.
Because if they're just fighting for backups, and if these guys are backups, who's telling them that they need to go into the portal?
I mean, they probably don't have the right kind of representation because there's a lot of bad agents out there. And Kenneth Darby just made the great point. They're just going for the money. They're not trying to compete for a championship. They're not worried about their legacy. Like, what does this leave? Why don't you stay? Everybody is getting paid something, especially on the Power 5 level. Why don't you stay and compete and try to increase your brand instead of trying to grab? Do you not think you're going to make the NFL?
Right.
And you're just having to grab the money. It's just I don't necessarily think it's the kids. Honestly, I think it's a lot of the idiots around them. You got maybe your
people thinking it's a money grab.
You got family members tugging on you. You got agents that you're talking to tugging on you. Some of them probably are not the best kind of agents. Like Jeff Goodman talked about this on his X account, talking to people in the industry, and they're covering the basketball transfer portal, that he's talking to agents all the time. That's where he gets a lot of this information. But some agents wanting 20% of a cut. Are you kidding me? Most agents get 5 to 10% max. And so if you're letting an agent take 20% of your quote-unquote payout, look, then the agent's probably driving it. In other words, hey, man, we got to go, we got to go somewhere and get you a bigger, payout. So the agent can line his pocket. He's not, in other words, the best interest of the student athlete isn't there. It's the interest of the agent, like who can scratch my back. And so I just think, it really helps if you have a stable family situation and if you make decisions rationally and not and I just think even if A.J. Storr has a great year at Kansas, 7 schools in 7 years. I mean, Dan Hurley talked about that when he's recruiting kids to go to Connecticut, that they always look at a kid's history. Like if he's gone to like 3 or 4 different high schools and moved around and always in the transfer portal, why is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they look at the parents heavily. Like, are the parents supportive? Are they fans of are they supporting the coaching staff? Or are they always worried about, well, how come he only got X amount of minutes? Or, what's his role going to be? In other words, not telling the kid, hey, do what the coach tells you and play hard. They're always up the coach's rear end wanting to know why he hasn't done this and that. And so it's already hard enough. And so they basically, when they're recruiting a kid, they take a long look at the parents when they're recruiting the parents too. In other words, like if it seems like too big of a circus, just not the right kind of fit for us.
Well, that'd be interesting. How interesting would it be if Jaden Rashada ultimately ends up in Georgia? That circus started at Miami, went to Florida, now he's at his right.
And now he'd be going in as a backup with a chance to win the job, because it's probably going to come open after this year. After Carson Beck leaves. So, but there'd be no guarantee that he'd win the job. And if he didn't win the job in the spring, he'd probably be exiting stage left like my man, Snaggletooth. Is that who that was?
I'm
Is that
trying from Fraggle Rock?
No, that's like Hanna-Barbera, man. That's not Fraggle Rock. Come on.
Gotta get my. Okay, let's. I know we got to get a break in. Snaggletooth. Okay, we got to get a break in when we come back, Jason. We got to talk Auburn. We got to talk Auburn. I'm throwing for a loop.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky this afternoon. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast, but there is going to be a significant period of dry time. We are going to be a little bit cooler today. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid-70s. We're dropping into the low and mid-50s as we head into the overnight early into your Saturday morning. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through much of Saturday afternoon. We are going to be on the cooler end of the spectrum. We're dropping into the upper 40s, lower 50s as we head into the overnight. A cloudy sky for your Sunday. Plenty of rain across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just picked up a wreck on Water Tower Loop Road in Morgan County. Had a vehicle hit a utility pole there. Apparently the pole is broken. Governor's in Gallatin. That was a hit and run. Had one of the vehicles still out in the middle of the intersection. May still be trying to get it clear. Snelling needs a motivated team member with purchasing and warehouse experience. It's an immediate hire. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the South Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.
Here it comes, and there it goes. Fly ball, deep left field, way back. This one is up. This one is gone.
Grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks and get ready to cheer on the Tide.
Called third strike, a slider lower inside corner.
The Tide plays here all season long.
Here's a spin. Here's Bowman's throw home. The slide, and he's safe.
On your home for Alabama baseball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Spring is in the air, making it a great time to make plans to visit the Lodge at Guntersville State Park. The Lodge at Guntersville State Park sits on a cliff overlooking beautiful Guntersville Lake with vistas from the cliffside rooms as well as the Pinecrest Room, the Lodge's premier restaurant. And as the weather warms, enjoy the gorgeous pool that overlooks the lake as well. The park also features cabins, a beach, and a boat launch, so bring your boat to take the fun to the lake. The Lodge at Guntersville State Park. Book your visit today.
Welcome back. Listen to you knowing the country music. Drive. See, now when you get in the car, you literally got to roll the windows down. So you're driving.
I do.
You literally have to roll the windows down. You don't even get the power.
I got power
windows.
nothing. I got folks passing me.
You just down for
I'm not Ricky Bobby.
You're just down for a farmer's stroll.
Yeah, there you go.
In the old
hey,
truck now.
Slow and steady wins the race. You know what I'm saying? I'm not racing anywhere.
Well, slow and steady.
Get
Bruce
you
Pearl's
from point A to
hoping,
point B.
Well, I guess you could say baseball, slow and steady. Just got to be steady now if you're Auburn baseball. Bruce Pearl getting some good news through the portal, redoing the depth there.
No, it's looking good, man.
And Auburn strong. Football bringing in a wide receiver, I believe, from Penn State, trying to court him into coming to play. So
we're going to talk about that and more with our good friend Jason Caldwell inside the Auburn Tigers, Auburn 24/7, 24 years covering the Auburn beat. Nobody more well-versed in Auburn athletics than our good friend, and he's with us now this morning. Jason, how are you?
I'm good. How about y'all?
We're doing good. Now, the last time we spoke with you, we were talking about what Bruce was going to do with the roster going into this year, and the thought was it would be great if he could bring back one of the two of Dylan Cardwell and Joe Nyberg. He brings them both back. Gargantuan to me. I mean, I think it cements Auburn as a potential top 10 team in the country to start the year and one of the favorites in the SEC. I mean, Joe Nye will be the best returning big and maybe SEC preseason player of the year with the jump that he took in his second year with this program. But huge news for Auburn to bring both those guys back to build around next year.
Yeah, no, it's big when you start talking about, the uncertainty, because you just don't know. I had people asking way back even in January, what do you think Auburn's roster is going to look like? And we have no idea. We just really don't know. And so you don't even know still don't know really what it's going to look like, and may not know till somebody asked me is when you want a roster be finalized. It may be the drop ad day of fall semester before you know. I mean, you just don't know. But no question that it's a huge piece of things for basketball when you talk about getting Broome back and having Dylan Cardwell back, and I believe that we'll see Broome play more 4 at times, and try to get those guys on the court together some at times next season. I think we'll see that to give Dylan Cardwell a little bit more time on the court. Chaney Johnson back, and so you almost get 3 guys you could rotate between those two positions and still give guys their minutes. So I think we'll see that. I think Auburn will probably go after another bigger guy, maybe more of a developmental guy to be ready for the next season. But, you bring back Chad Baker-Mazara, you bring back Denver Jones, and so you start talking about the pieces there. Then you add J.P. Pegues, point guard coming in from Furman. And then you talk about Todd Pettiford and Ja'Kai Howard, a couple of signees. And so start looking at the pieces of it. And while your numbers aren't 12 or 13, you put yourself in a pretty good position, heading into next season with the roster makeup and with the people you have, currently on that are slated to be on the roster.
Do you think it came as a surprise to the coaching staff that Aiden Holloway ended up in the portal?
I don't think so. I think there's enough exit interviews done with coaches and that hey, these things are a possibility. So right. I don't think it came as a surprise. And the thing that with part of this now is 10 years ago, it would be a surprise. I don't think anybody's surprised now when anyone goes in the roster in a portal nowadays. I just think if you are, you need to be expecting it. And so I think, had he averaged 17 a game, you might have been surprised. I think when you do that, because it becomes such a double-edged sword if you're Auburn. Yes, you want a guy to return, but you also want, okay, is this guy going to be a 17-point a game, or is he what he is right now? And so you go, okay, there's questions. You got to have questions. Is that a guy we can build around? So it becomes those questions on both sides, because the days of, hey, go up to 10 next year and then get to 15 as a junior and 18 as a senior, you don't find many of those Mark Sears guys anymore.
Right.
You just don't find guys like that stay that long. And so it's hard to know if you're going to have that guy next year. What's he going to be? Do we need to go find somebody else to be better? And I think all those things are almost expected nowadays.
Well, and we're talking to Jason Caldwell inside the Auburn Tigers, Auburn 24/7. For J.P. Pegues, he seemed like a guy that was one of the more heavily sought-after point guards in the portal coming from Furman. It was pretty much an all-SEC battle. I know South Carolina, Florida, but Auburn identified him quickly. I know you've studied him. How does he fit into what Bruce Pearl wants to do as far as the impact he could have potentially as the starting point guard for this team next year? Yeah,
I think he's a guy that runs the show, which is the first thing. And when I watched him, something I wrote about when I talked to him, even after I asked him about it, because when you watch UConn,
yeah,
and obviously Alabama saw UConn and everybody else saw them, and the thing that you watch them is that team could play any style. Didn't matter what you did, you weren't going to dictate how they played the game, and it started with their guards. And I think when you watched Auburn the last couple of years, the one thing you said was, look, at times you go, hey, that's they're just not in control of the game. It usually wound up working out okay, but sometimes it didn't. And even when it worked out okay, it wasn't fun to watch at times. And you go, I think this is the guy that is in control. He runs the show, and his demeanor is one of those that you go, hey, not too high, not too low. I think it's a really good fit, a guy that will play. I think you get back to playing a point guard 30 minutes a game instead of, 25, 22. And I think that's important, because I think like a quarterback or, like a middle linebacker, those are guys that you want to be in possession and want to have that constant voice. And I think he becomes that guy for Auburn basketball.
And then the two freshmen, you mentioned them, and Pettiford and Howard. And Bruce has already talked about Pettiford playing the two. You got Denver Jones coming back, and the thing that I've noticed in both Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl's programs is how much better transfers get the second year. So Denver and Chaney could both take big jumps, but what kind of impact can the two young guards have?
Yeah, I agree. I think you look at it, and I think it's a little different I think it's why probably more of a focus is going to be on an off guard versus being a full-time point guard. We saw it. It's really difficult. It's the difficulty of being a true freshman quarterback and asking a point guard to be the same guy to run the show. And so I think Todd Pettiford, you probably go, hey, maybe 5 to 10 minutes at points at times. Denver Jones can also do the same thing.
Yeah, he did.
And I think we'll see him do some of that too. But I think you go, hey, focus on just being part of the offense. You're going to have the ball in your hands a lot because that's the way this thing's designed. Everybody touches the basketball. But I think Todd Pettiford is really athletic, lefty that can get to the rim, shoot it, do all those things. So I think it's good for him to come in and not have to worry about being the guy and running the show and just kind of settle in.
Bruce Pearl, very active on the basketball side. Hugh Freeze, not staying pat as well on the football side, looking and being very active in trying to fill up and shore up that wide receiver position.
Yeah, I think it's a spot. Well, I think let me rephrase it.
Yeah.
I think right now, if you're in any sport, the first job you have better be to try to find any way you can to improve your roster. And even if you feel good about a position, if somebody comes in and you feel like they can help you, you better make room because that's just the way of this world nowadays. You better go find a way. And so I think they feel much better about the wide receiver spot, but I do think adding another veteran piece would be important for them to help them bridge the gap with these young guys. I think they feel like Cam Coleman's going to be really good, and you brought in Bryce Cain, and you have obviously Perry Thompson coming in, Malcolm Simmons coming in, but that's a lot to heap on the shoulders of a group of freshmen. And you brought in a couple of transfers last year. Camden Brown was much better in the spring, but he also continued to have injury issues, and you had some consistency issues with other guys, and you go, okay, we better go find somebody else. And so, but I think it had to be the right fit. It's got to be a veteran, a guy that's done it before and done it at this level. I think is what that hey, we need somebody to step in right now. And so, I think that's what you look for at wide receiver. Some of the other spots, I think interior defensive line. We just saw Philip Leedy visited. I think that's the other spot where you go interior defensive line, potentially pass rusher, potentially wide receiver. Those are going to be the focal points for them in the portal. And a portal that has been much different than I think everyone anticipated. I think the lack of being able to transfer
within the
from
league,
from SEC school to SEC school has changed the expectations of many, because I think it's just further reinforced the fact that people want to play in this league. Even the people that are already in this league, when they leave, they want to stay in this league. And so if that's not an option, then they're not leaving right now.
And then I know they've got some interesting visitors coming in via the football portal. The one that's very intriguing, I was reading your notes about it, and of course Jalen McLeod had, when he was healthy, impacted Auburn last year coming from Appalachian State. But there's another group of 5 pass rushers that they've kind of zeroed in on, and that's Kieron Crawford from Arkansas State.
Yeah, just a guy that you look at him and it makes a lot of sense when you start talking about you lose a local product that was here in Brenton Williams from that position. You have Jalen McLeod coming back for 1 year, then you have Jamonta Waller, and you have Morris Williams, and you have Joe Phillips, all 3 true freshmen. And I think all 3 of those guys are going to play. But if Jalen McLeod were to be slowed or were to be, then you would depend on those 3 guys who've never played to carry the entire load. I think that would be a lot. And so I think, again, it's like, how do you bridge the gap with some young guys to make sure that you're in position? And that's the thing now. In 2005, you wouldn't have had a choice. You go, hey, here's what we got. Now you have the ability to help yourself in case this is almost a break glass in case of emergency. Right now, you're preparing your roster to have that fire extinguisher behind that glass in case something happens. And this is one of those opportunities.
And
baseball-wise, want to touch on that big series. I know they've gotten out of the gates.
That schedule has been
it's been brutal to start the year. I mean, I think they've faced the number one team. It seems like every week
they face half the top 10.
Yeah, but this week though, a chance for Auburn to put together, win a few series here straight, and possibly, dig their way back into the conversation for Hoover.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously now the only thing you can focus on is trying to win a few games. We talked to a few guys yesterday, and it's all about trying to build some confidence. Can you find a way to put together a win or two to do those things? And it gets easier because it can't get any harder.
That's a great way to put it.
But it's still tough. I mean, you look this week and you roll out 1, 2, 3, 4 in the country in D1 baseball, and Auburn's played all 4 of those. And then the other one is Vandy on the road. And Vandy is 16, I think. But if you play Vandy in Nashville, they're probably 2.
Yeah.
But they're at home. They're much different, and that's what Auburn had to do. So it doesn't change the fact that you got to be better than they've been, because you have the ability to compete, and they have at times, but you got to be better on the mound, and that's where it starts. And can you find some consistency there? But it also happens, and it happens. We've seen it for Auburn baseball and Alabama baseball.
Oh, yeah.
It's an uphill battle because of the numbers game that you face anyway.
No question.
And when you have these years, that's when it rains, it pours. And you're without Ike Irish for a couple of times, without Bobby Pierce a little bit, without Mason Mainers. All 3 of those guys may be questionable even this weekend. It makes it even tougher as you go to Mississippi State and get prepared to play them on Super Bulldog weekend, where you'll have 17,000 probably tomorrow for baseball. So it'll create its own challenges. And for a team that in its own right, I mean, you go from facing teams that are fighting for host spots to now facing teams that are fighting to get into regionals, and that makes it its own challenge itself.
It really will. Well, great stuff as always from Jason Cole. There'll be a lot going on: baseball, transfer portal in football and basketball, recruiting going on in football as well. Visitors continuing to come to to visit campuses, and also just connect with their coaching staff. Let everybody know what you guys have got going on over at Auburn Undercover.
Yeah, like I said, a lot going on with portal recruiting. I'll be back on the road for some spring football starting here in the next couple of weeks. So got all that going on, obviously baseball, softball, and more. So you can check it out at auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. You can also follow me on Twitter at ITATJ.
Always appreciate it, my friend.
Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's get that final break in, shall we?
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They're looking for a wreck on Water Tower Road in Morgan County. Had a report of a vehicle that hit a utility pole there, and had a wreck at Governors in Gallatin that was a hit and run. Had one of the vehicles still in the road. They may still be trying to get that one wrapped up. You could win a new Jeep Compass at the 40th Annual Bloomin' Festival Art and Craft Fair, the 21st and 22nd, adjacent to Ave Maria Grotto in Coleman. Over 180 artists and craftsmen, great food, music, and more. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jav Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Folks, it's Truck Month and more at Woody Anderson Ford. Hey, Bobby White back again with the best selection and best deals on F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Bronco, Edge, Bronco Sport, and the all-electric Mustang Mach-E. Come on in for financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on a 2023 F-150 Crew Cab, and lease payments as low as $375 a month. Put an F-150 in your driveway for $375 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $62.82 due at signing, zero security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. This offer ends 4/30/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. At Woody Anderson Ford, you can choose from nearly 30 Expeditions with financing as low as 2.9% for 72 months. And talk about freedom, never stop at a gas station again in the all-electric 23 Mach-E with financing as low as 0% for 72 months. Come see us today. It's Truck Month and more at Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Speaking of University Kia, again, we'll be there tomorrow, 12 to 1:55, a Saturday edition of Talking Ball. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. So make sure you don't stay up too late tonight listening to your Taylor Swift.
Here we go. That's for Jeff from the Burr. I'm not a Swiftie.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Don't forget, there is plenty, and hopefully the weather will cooperate.
Yeah, baseball.
Plenty of high school baseball
Huntsville
going
Grissom
on tonight. You got first round of the high school
Madison
football
Academy
playoffs in some classes, and you got 7A finishing
baseball,
everything
not
up.
football now. We're not ready for football yet. It's baseball playoff.
Did I say football?
I just want to make
baseball
sure.
playoffs. So
We've
class
been talking
1A
a lot of football.
Yeah, class 1A through 6A, their first round. Class 7A finishing up the regular season. So you got that going on tonight across several diamonds across North Alabama. So get on out there. I know high school soccer ongoing as well. Softball nearing that point as well. So the high school season winding down all across our area. So if you're able to play tonight,
flies by, man.
Yeah, if you're able to play tonight, good luck. If you're not, good luck when you can play. So
tune in to Kia tomorrow as we bring you another 2 hours of great.
Arthur's racked up some awards, so we've got to highlight all those.
Indiana Arthur.
El Presidente.
Now El Presidente Arthur.
Yes. He's been everything.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of